to the Manifesting Millions podcast. I am your host, Rashida McFadden, and today in this Rich Auntie Life series, we are going to talk about how to lose 20 pounds in 60 days or less. But first, I want you to head over to Rashida.ai and grab your Millionaire Mindset Guide, which is the freebie that is active on my website, and then come on back over here and join us for today's episode. I'm going to do it as of February 28th, since the beginning of the month, because I officially met with my weight loss specialist mid-December. As of today, I have lost a total of, 23 pounds this year. And I would love to tell y'all that I ain't having no assistance, but child, that ain't true. I've talked about this in previous podcasts. 2 years ago, I had a thyroidectomy. And my thyroid, which is supposed to be a total of 4 to 5 grams, had grown to be 420 grams. It was so huge that it had started to grow down into my chest. Now, I love being popular, but let me tell you what I do not love. I do not love being the popular case study in my surgeon's office that everybody talked about every time I came back for the next pretty much the rest of that year, because it was an ongoing treatment in regards to my healing. Because my thyroid had gotten so big, instead of me taking off, 8 weeks for work, I ended up being off work for almost 3 to 4 months. I literally had no voice after my surgery for the first 60 days. Which is really hard because number one, my job, I was a vice president for Bank of America in risk management, was centered around me talking. 90% of my job is me talking, running meetings, managing stakeholders, managing projects, and closing out projects. And then number two, I kept getting hoarse. I know that my voice is not fully restored yet. Now it's officially, as of mid-February, it's been 2 years since the operation. I still have healing that's being done. But anyway, if you know anything about your thyroid, you know that your thyroid controls your metabolism. I've always been optimized in my metabolism because I've always been a very active person, from being a little kid all the way into being a grown-up. However, thyroid issues do run in my family. I knew that at some point it was going to be an issue that had to be addressed. So, also with that, the struggle for me came when I knew I had been really healthy for a pretty long time. I worked out on a regular basis. I avoided all the foods that they told you to. And still, somehow, my body still went out of whack. I was convinced for a number of years that with the right diet and exercise that I could get it back under control. And that did happen. When it first went out of whack in 2018, it took me almost a year to get it back under control. But even after that, and having we shrunk it so that it wouldn't be so intense in my neck, I still was having an issue managing it, because what would happen was no one could tell me why the goiter was growing. It was non-cancerous, it was benign, and it had calcium deposits that were, they called it calcifying within the mass. It was always overworking because it felt like it wasn't getting enough thyroid hormones. And so it was always working overtime to try to produce the thyroid hormones that it thought my body was missing. I want to say, after we found out it wasn't cancerous, I would go ahead and have it taken out because it was starting to press on my esophagus. In the process of doing that, I gained weight. When you take your metabolism out of your body, guess what? You gain weight. And so it has been a challenge for me over the last 2 years to manage my weight, which is, again, frustrating for me because I've always been a health optimized person. I had gotten up to, my normal weight is a good 135 to 150. Usually play with the 15 pounds anywhere in between. I am a full grown woman. I have carried a child. He's now a teenager. And so my body has changed and gone through the natural developments of what a woman goes through as she lives and grows through life. But after my operation, I gained 25 to almost 30 pounds. Super uncomfortable, by the way. And to give you some perspective, when I was pregnant with my son, I got up to 188 pounds. I am 5'4". That was super uncomfortable. And I was literally gaining 5 pounds every other day the last month that I was carrying him. And so I started walking because I wanted to go ahead and give birth. And he came 2 weeks early. The boy was almost 8 pounds. Now, again, my son was almost 2 feet when he was born. He was just gaining weight, and my body got to the point that I could not handle the pressure of having him in my body in addition to all the other weight that I had packed on. After I gave birth to him, by that next year, I was down to like 135 pounds. I really got serious because I'm always serious about my weight, my health, and how I show up in life. And so by the time he was one, child was 135 pounds. Don't play with me. But I just wanted to give you some perspective in reference to how I've been with my health journey. So moving to Texas, we've been in Texas almost 12 years. When I got here, I don't know what happened when we came, but I started to pack on weight that I couldn't get rid of. And then my thyroid just went insanely out of whack. It would have moments of it being in whack, then it would be out of whack, and then I would be working out, and it was like I was working out to no avail because I was just sitting there doing and eating in motion and nothing was happening in my body, which was very much a shock to me. But add the fact that, you're in a corporate job. I'm a single mother raising a son, and working out has always been my outlet. The other thing I also started to notice that as my friends moved here, they also did the same thing. I don't know what it is about Texas. Last year, I started on Zepbound. First, I started with the first one they had, the Wegovy. Oh my God, that was terrible. And this was shortly after my surgery. And I'm thinking maybe 3 or 4 months after my surgery, I went in and I got the Wegovy. I don't think Zepbound was out yet. I tried to do Wegovy for a good 18 to 24 months, and I just couldn't. It reminded me of when I was pregnant, my first trimester, and I was throwing up every other day. That's how it felt. And that's exactly what I was doing. I was throwing up left and right on Wegovy. And I was always like nauseated. I switched doctors last year. I wanted to try something new. I signed up for the Amazon Health and I went through one of the providers through their portal instead of going through my traditional doctors. For a good 6 or 7 months, I would have progress and then regress back. Now I feel like I'm in a space where I am consistently losing weight, and I followed some rules for my own weight loss journey that's helped me out. That has been almost totally opposite of the way I normally eat. There were some things that I realized in this process that my body was like in starvation mode because I had been on such a low fat diet for so long, and then emphasizing eating more protein. The other part of that is that I've found is that a lot of times when you're eating, and this comes from being in a corporate structure throughout your day and you're working, you're not necessarily even hungry. Now, I did get in the habit of being able to go throughout my day having coffee in the morning to almost 2 o'clock and then eat then and probably go have some more coffee. As I'm looking back at it, it was so unhealthy. And I actually pinpointed where I started having like cholesterol issues was when I started to drink a McDonald's coffee every day. Hello. And one of the things that just bothered me when my doctor gave me numbers sometime last year, I was like, I really don't understand. I understand that I've gained the weight, but me having high cholesterol, like that almost just doesn't make sense to me considering all the activity that I do. But because my body was holding on to fat, it caused an issue with my cholesterol. And so guess what I did? I stopped drinking caramel frappuccinos every morning. And guess what went down? Hello, my cholesterol. And I don't know if you noticed, but I'm not really talking in any formal order in regards to this episode. I'm kind of just giving you the lay of the land in reference to what has happened over the last 60 days with me losing 23 pounds. Do I feel better? Yes. Do I feel lighter? Yes. Do I have more energy? Yes. And am I going to continue on Zepbound? Yes. I am thinking probably a good 10 to 15 more pounds. I would just continue on a maintenance dose. But it really assisted in helping me get my body back and get my life back. And I'm feeling super comfortable with where I am going um in regards to my weight loss. And by no means have I ever felt like I was fat. That's because when people look at me, they're like, I don't see why you're trying to lose weight. But if you know me, you know. I've really just committed over these last 3 to 4 months to changing habits, snacking all the time randomly, and if I'm going to snack, eating real food over processed food. Like, yo, when they say that processed stuff will kill you, that is so true. It is literally formulated to tear up your body mechanisms altogether. There is nothing of nutritional value that you're adding to your body when you're eating processed foods. And that's a challenge for us as millennials. And I know Gen Z, because my son is Gen Z. Like, we grew up on processed foods. Well, because I grew up on a farm, I grew up on half processed foods and then half organic foods. If you are thinking about trying Zepbound or Wegovy, my vote is definitely for Zepbound. With Zepbound, I have had maybe minimal symptoms in regards to the reactions. I just wanted to pop on and talk about losing 23 pounds in 60 days is a big deal because I don't have a thyroid. Before we came to Texas, I didn't have an issue if I had gained 15 to 20 pounds, dropping 20 pounds in 60 days. That was a norm for me. I'm like, what? I just wanted to share my journey. I'm excited. There is some work to be done in a gym, unfortunately. Child, I don't feel like going to this gym. Like, we've had a gym membership for like a year. I feel like it's been over a year now. I feel like we joined last year after spring break. And I've been to that gym all of 3 times, which is a challenge because I used to be that girl before the pandemic who had 2 or 3 gym memberships because I like the variety and diversity of going when one that got on my nerves and going to see different people in different locations. Now you can barely pay me to get to a gym. I'm going to have to figure out how to add strength back. Those were the days. Yeah, it's not like that anymore. Now you go in there and it's a social party. Like, one example is the last time I was there, I'm lifting heavy on arms. There's the cardio section that's diagonal to this row of arm weight section. And I'm like going in, I think I'm lifting like maybe 80 to 100 with my arms. Again, I'm a little chick. So that's a lot for me. So if I'm getting up above 50 with my arms, yeah, your girl is pushing and I'm dropping weights and whatnot, the lady shoots me some piercing stare. She's over there on a treadmill, barely walking on an incline, overweight by like 50 or 60 pounds. And she's staring at me, shooting me side eyes because I'm grunting on a machine in here getting my workout on and maximizing my gym benefits. She's mad because I'm over here lifting weights. I'm sitting here looking at her like, you need to have your healthy butt over here on these machines because this is what's going to drop your weight, not you sitting up there walking half an incline on a little raggedy cardio machine. Girl, bye. No, ma'am. It's just different now. With that being said, make sure you're adding lifting weights to your activities because here's the truth about working out as a woman. You need to lift heavy stuff. Okay. I know a lot of women talk about getting bulky or being scared that they're going to end up looking like a man. That's not what's going to happen. What it's going to do is cut your body up. Trust me, I know. Is cardio important? Absolutely. Yes, it's important for your heart health. But in regards to burning more fat, you need to have muscle on your body. That being said, Zepbound has been on and popping for me for the past 60 days, at least from the beginning of January to February. Like I said, I've dropped 23 pounds using the shot, and I am feeling really good right now. And I want to continue to feel even better as I get my health back intact, optimized to what it was before I had my thyroidectomy. Because I'm going to be honest, I was concerned about whether or not I would be able to get my health back once they took my thyroid out. I've always been high energy, high functioning. Now learning to optimize my body without my thyroid, it's been a different journey. So you got to take care of yourself. You got to watch what you're eating. You got to lift heavy stuff. You got to get your cardio on. get your walking on, but not only do cardio because it is doing each of these little things that turn into the big things over time. We take for granted health when we don't even realize how healthy we are. Because, when you're younger, you're invincible, right? Like, you literally feel like, you're standing on top of the world, which is an amazing feeling. But you want to continue to feel like that throughout your whole life. I just never really knew what it was to be overweight and have it be an issue for me because that wasn't like a challenge in my life because I've always been active. I was active in high school. I was active in elementary school. I was active in college. After I graduated college, like I continued to be active because I've always been a high energy person. So stay committed to your journey. And like I said earlier, I think I'm going to finish out at around 135 to 150. I usually give myself a 10 to 15 pound grace in regards to how much weight I gain, how much weight I lose. But I do know that I just want to stay in that range. I hope something in this episode has helped you. I hope it encourages you. If you've been thinking about taking the shot, get on the shot. It works. It minimizes your appetite. It helps control cravings. It gives you a completely different view and perspective on how you are approaching food if you have gotten into some unhealthy habits, just being in the regular hustle and bustle and flow of life. Thank you for joining. If this episode inspired you in any way, please share it with a friend, give us a 5-star review, and as I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the episode, head over to Rashida.ai and grab your freebie. And then I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.